We've talked about the use of the rainy day fund, and I know that Senator Ogden has said that there's a deal between the House and the Senate, but many of you still have to have a deal with your constituents back home. You've read the headlines in terms of the number of teachers that will be laid off. Some of those individuals go to church with you each and every day. And so the question is whether or not we want to use some of the rainy day fund. This particular bill, this particular amendment proposes putting $1.1 billion into our foundation school program. Well, Senator West, what will it do? Members, what it will do is the following. The basic allotment would end up being $4,905 as opposed to $4,576. Does it make a difference for your schools? Yes, it does. And so the question is whether or not we want to, as a Senate body, decide to say that as a body we want to spend an additional $1.1 billion of the rainy day fund in order to put it directly into our public schools. We know there's been many of you that have talked about the issue of how in the world...
Senator West, excuse me. Could we please have a little order on the floor, please? Thank you. Go ahead, Senator West.
We've talked about getting back on formula funding. We've talked about all of the school districts that are beneath the average level of funding. In fact, I think Senator Dewell pointed out what the variations are in our respective districts. Members, this is not the silver bullet to public finance, public school finance. As many of you know, that's the issue right now that's kind of holding up whether or not we're going to have a final budget. But what this will do is send a signal from the Senate that we want to use some additional money out of the rainy day fund in order to fund our public schools. I move adoption.
Thanks, Senator West. Senator Ogden on floor amendment number 5.
Members, I appreciate Senator West's sentiment here. To a certain extent, we've debated this previously when we had $3 billion of additional rainy day fund being contingent on appropriation in House Bill 1 as it came out of committee that you voted for. We also debated it with respect to the 3.9. And I think that if left to our own devices, this would be a good thing. But we cannot achieve agreement on this floor, and we have no agreement in the House on doing this. And so I would move to table.
Senator West, close.
Parliamentary inquiry before I close.
State your inquiry.
What does it mean to table? Does it mean that we don't want to face up to it, or what? What does that mean? We don't want to face up and take a vote on it? What does table mean?
Motion to table takes a higher precedent and is not debatable.
I'm just trying to figure out what it means, though.
Well,
that we don't want to consider it.
We just gave you your answer.
I'm sorry.
We just answered your question.
Okay, we don't want to consider it. Okay, members, if you don't want to consider it, then table it. Then table it. But make certain that when you go back home, that you tell your constituents, some of those school teachers that are being laid off, that you decided to table this particular amendment because we can't get agreement with the Senate. With the House. The reality is we need to, as a body, take a position as to whether or not we believe that additional money should come out of the rainy day fund in order to fund education in the state of Texas. I'd move not to table.
Thanks, Senator West. Members, the motion is by Senator Ogden to table floor amendment number 5. 17 ayes, 14 nays. The motion to table prevails.